All right, Sean, thank you. After years of pausing student loan repayments during the COVID-19 pandemic, they are now due, and some people might be experiencing a shock in what is due.
Yes, we have Jeremy Blair here with Mountain America Credit Union. Have some tips on how to budget and save to repay those loans. It's hard to save when you have to repay, right?
Oh, it is. It's a heavy burden for sure. You know, I tell people, think about, maybe you went out and bought a new car and you got no payments for 6 months. When that 7th month hits, you know it. You feel it right away. Like, oh my goodness, where did this come from? What did I commit to? Now think about that after a 4-year or a 3-year pause in many cases for these student loans. That's a big hit. A lot of people have changed their lifestyles over that time. Maybe they upgraded their home, going on nicer vacations, or they just got hit real hard by inflation over the last few years.
Might have had a child or two.
Absolutely.
In a few years.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden these come back online. I've spoken with people that completely forgot they were making student loan payments at some point, and now that's a real shock to your budget.
And that's what you're calling student loan payment shock, right?
Exactly.
A lot of people feeling that. I mean, yeah, you do get into habits, and after a while, you can forget about it. Maybe it's there in the back of your mind, but it is hard to sort of get back on that schedule. What are some pieces of advice here?
First thing we always tell people is it starts back with budgeting. And budgeting requires discipline. Nobody likes discipline, but we all have to do it, right? Most of your financial institutions nowadays have free apps that you can use just to help you with as a budgeting tool to kind of get your ducks in a row and really start to align what you're looking to do. And small cutbacks go a long way. Maybe it's just eating out a little bit less. Maybe it's cutting out 1 or 2 of those streaming services that you have, maybe half a dozen that we all have these days.
That could add up to a few $100s a month, though.
They really do.
Things.
And that's enough for some people just to get back on top of things and get moving in the right direction again.
What's the risk if you don't continue your payments? I mean, people are like, well, how are they going to find me? Well, they'll find you.
They'll find you.
They will find
you owe money.
It's amazing how quickly they find you. No, it's really about your credit and maintaining your credit. We always tell people it's much easier to maintain your credit than it is to fix your credit. So the first 3 things you really want to look at is the cost of my housing. I always want to make sure I'm current on that. Your primary mode of transportation. You got to be able to provide for yourself. And then the credit card that you actively use. Those are the 3 you definitely want to make sure you're on top of. After that, let's take a look at your overall budget and say, okay, what can I afford to still continue to service on my debt? And if I can't, I need to reach out to my debt servicer and talk to them. They really do want you to be successful. They don't want your loan to go to loss. They have programs that can help you either defer some of those payments or maybe reduce them on an income basis. But there are ways to get ahead of that, but that communication is really key.
Now, in terms of repaying a student loan, small payments. Some people can only afford to make those small payments. Does that depend on what type of loan they have, where they get it from, that type of thing?
Definitely. If you've got subsidized student loans, which some people do, other are privately placed student loans. Now, all of those you do need to pay back, but they're going to have various terms. Some are fixed rate, some are floating rate. And for those with floating rates, those got really high over the last few years as interest rates rose. Now, they may start to come back down, which would be nice. But if you've got it fixed, you know what you need to pay. And that's where some of that consolidation can come in. It's a good opportunity to talk to a financial institution and say, look, if I've got too much debt that I just can't carry the burden on, can I come in and consolidate this down into a simple, smaller payment or one that at least has a lower interest rate attached to it?
And trying to get that advice from your financial institution or whoever you bank with,
right?
Does that cost?
It shouldn't. Most of them will do it for free. I use us as an example. Mountain America is a not-for-profit. We have financial guides that will help you sit down and go through your budget, top to bottom, inside and out, and get you set on a path to financial independence. That's our whole point for existing. But most financial institutions will have something similar to that, where they can help you come in and look at, what am I paying on all of my debts? Is there a way I can get those into a manageable load? And take a look at your budget and really give you some advice on where you can cut back.
Is that the person who would deal with the student loan and say, hey, can we work something out? Or will that take someone else?
Sure. If that's somebody at your institution, if you're going to the same institution where you have the loan, a lot of times it would be the same individual that can talk to you about that. But that doesn't mean that it couldn't be from somewhere else and they can bring them into a single umbrella and fix it for you.
So obviously we're talking about student loans, but we're looking at the whole financial picture. Let's talk about credit cards for a moment, because buy now, pay later services kind of on the rise. Talking about being cautious when it comes to credit cards and sort of some heightened financial risk for a lot of people.
Caution's a great way to put that. I love that. I tell people a lot of times the buy now, pay laters and the credit cards, think of those like a first aid kit, right? You're going to put a tourniquet on just to get you to the hospital, but you don't want to use it every day, right? Same thing with your credit cards and your buy now, pay laters. Credit cards carry very heavy interest rates. The buy now, pay laters, you just don't have much time to pay on, right? So those catch up with you real quickly. If you can get those consolidated down, that's where that lower interest rate and that longer time period can really help you get ahead of your debt and get that under control. But they're definitely not intended for everyday use.
Yeah, our financial advisor who comes on, Jenny Groberg, has come on to ARC Salt Lake with some advice, and she and her husband paid off $250,000 in student loan debt in 2 years.
In 2 years, yes.
She said you can do it. They
It took
stayed in
heavy
their
discipline.
Yes, they stayed in their tiny little apartment. They didn't eat out. They didn't go on vacations, but they paid it off. So it can be done.
It can. It's that discipline, and she called it out perfectly. You know, you got to cut back and you got to decide what's necessary and what do I just really want. And sometimes those wants have to suffer a little bit. But to pay off a debt like that in 2 years, imagine the freedom that comes with that at the end of the day.
As we close this out here, I guess a lot of people, if they are experiencing that shock, there can be some panic involved too. You know, they feel overwhelmed. I guess what's the really the first step here?
Yeah. Take it one step at a time, right? If you look at it, like you said, it's overwhelming to see everything all at once. But if you really look at this and say, look, if I can start to chip away at this little by little, let's consolidate down those highest interest rates. Let's attack those ones where I think I could get this paid off in a month or maybe in a year. And then let's move on to the next one. And over time, you will get that debt burden under control.
Are you hearing from customers asking for advice on how to do this?
We do. We hear from people quite a bit. And, you know, some of the advice, you know, with kids going back to school right now, we tell them, you know, look, be very cautious with this student loan debt that you're about to kind of move into here. Make sure that you're not taking on more than you're going to be able to pay off with the degree that you're pursuing.
Yeah. Okay. Some good advice.
Jeremy, thank you.
Thanks so much.